Okay, so the first thing that we'll be discussing today is the difference between slave tools and master tools. So essentially, a slave tool, when it reads out the file out of the ECU, it's an encoded file. So if you had to try and pull a slave file into a chip tuning program, you wouldn't be able to see the actual content of the ECU file. Whereas a master reads the open file, the open bin file. So you can actually pull that file into your chip tuning program, whichever one you prefer to use, and make changes directly onto the ECU, in the ECU file. Now, things to consider between the two is, so price is obviously a big difference between the two. So for example, the case tools, if you had to buy a slave tool, you're looking at about 1,800, 2,000 euros, whereas a master tool is probably going to cost you in the region of 4,000 to 5,000 euros if you're looking at the basic package. And it really depends on your expertise and what you want to get into. My advice to you is, if you're just looking at starting a chip tuning business, you just want to read out files, you have a workshop, you don't want to spend hours learning how to make tuning files, then buy a slave tool, you read out the ECU file, you mail it to a company like ourselves. Once we have the file, we adjust the file for you, and then we send the file back to you. If you do buy a master tool, then you sort of want to get a little bit more deep involved in the ECU side. You want to actually try and make your own tuning files and use that to load onto the client's vehicles. Now, things to go on, you also have to look at, our business is only making these tuning files. So if you had to partner with a company like us and buy a slave tool, then you have our full support on providing you with the stage 1 and 2 tunes or whatever you need. And if anything goes wrong, we're obviously here to fully support you. Whereas on a master tool, you sort of take on the business a little bit more by yourself, and you try and make all the different changes, and you have to take into account your experience when it comes to that. So if you're not that experienced, my advice is definitely start with a slave tuning tool, and then once you become a little bit more comfortable and you ever want to, you can upgrade to a master and start doing the tuning files yourself.